if you don't protect yourself, you can't possibly help those around you. I'm cool with whatever you want to do in your firm and whatever people want to charge and what's right for them. Then, you know, that's what you've got to do, what's right for you at the end of the day with your pricing. So I would never judge anyone for that. The only thing I would ask is that people actually apply some thinking to it, and that's all really. And obviously, Stephen and Stuart have both done that with the services they provided. And with us at MAP, it was the same. Like when it first hit, like it was just all hands to deck, working ridiculous hours. You couldn't charge anything extra for anything. And then as things started to settle down, then we were able to charge for things. I think one of the reasons why a lot of businesses are in a difficult situation is that what they've done is historically they've bought fair weather services. And what I mean by that is they bought services assuming that a storm was never going to come. And storms always come for businesses, right? Whether it's the storm of a pandemic that no one could have predicted, or whether it's the storm of a recession, or the storm of a competitor, or of losing clients, or whatever, right? There's always storms to come. And many years ago, well, not too many years ago, but I had a business that failed, and because of a couple of small storms that came my way. So when I set up Go Proposal, I always ensured that I would make it as stormproof as possible with certain things that we implemented. So we had budgets and forecasts and cash flow and everything, so I could have the best view of the future I could possibly have. And when all of this hit, you know, we started to do scenario planning for Go Proposal and started to look at like, what's the worst case scenario. I'm talking now here as me as a client, right? What's the worst case scenarios? And thankfully, because we stayed relevant and stayed valuable to clients, etc., we actually exceeded our budget that we set last year before all of this, and we've grown ahead of that, which is great. But back to what accountancy firms need to be doing, and where they sit with their responsibility is, yes, clients have bought fair weather services from them historically and not stormproof services, but you allowed them to buy fair weather services, right? And so what accountancy firms, I think, have a unique opportunity to do now is to hit reset with a lot of client relationships and say, look, I know I presented cash flow to you, I know I presented forecast, I know I presented this, and you said, no, it's not an option anymore. Like, you need this. Like, I can't work with you without this because you've seen the value of this now, and we need it moving forward. And as you were talking, I just pulled up a quote, and I think I gave this quote in a talk I did recently, and it was from Captain James Stockdale, who was an American soldier, and he was taken prisoner of war in the Vietnamese War. I think he was in prison for 7 years, and he wrote some great things when he came out of it. And one of the things that he was asked is, they said to him, who didn't survive? Which were the prisoners that didn't survive? And he said, oh, that's easy. It was the optimists. And he says, what do you mean the optimists? I don't understand. He said, I'm reading this here. He says, the optimists were the ones who said, we're going to be out of this by Christmas, and Christmas would come and Christmas would go. Then they'd say, we're going to be out of this by Easter, and Easter would come and Easter would go, and then Thanksgiving, etc. And they died of a broken heart. And he went on to develop something called the Stockdale Principle, which is, you must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront your most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. And this is where everybody's been talking about on this, and where Fluidly perfectly sits in, is that there's no saying, oh, we're going to be okay, we're going to be out of this in the next 2 months. We don't know. We could be in this for the next 2 years. I was speaking to an accountancy firm yesterday, and they were saying that, yes, our clients have had hardships this year. The chances are they're going to feel the real hardship of it next year. Like, it's going to get worse, right? And so we need to give our clients as much information as possible. We need to give them as much data as possible, and potentially source, financial solutions to help them through these periods if that's what's needed. I know you guys help with that and provide that now, Gav. But we need to give them everything we can to help them. And yes, we need to charge for it as well for those services. And we need to communicate that value, because as Stuart alluded to and as Stephen alluded to, is that we've got to protect ourselves as well. Like, yes, we've got to help our clients, but we've got to take our own medicine. We've got to get our own house in order. We've got to get our own cash flow in order, because it's not fair to our clients. And the analogy I always give with this is, the oxygen mask dropped from the ceiling in the, when you get the talk in the airplane, and they always say, you've got to get your mask on first, because if you don't protect yourself, you can't possibly help those around you. And it's not selfish to charge the right amount to give the services that you know your clients need. Paul has a really great phrase, which is, I only ever offer what I would want if I was them, knowing what I know. And we need to have the confidence to say, no, if I was in your shoes, knowing what I know, this is everything that I would want. They don't have to take it. You don't have to force it upon them, but it is your ethical obligation to at least present everything that you would want if you were them, knowing what you know with your knowledge. And you need to have the confidence to clearly and fairly, as we said before, charge for those services that you survive and so that your clients survive as well. And again, as Stephen said, if they don't want to pay it, fine, next.